Hello my geniuses, welcome to another playlist today in physiology. We are starting the endocrinology playlist, so if you are just joining us for this first time, make sure to subscribe and turn on your post notification button so at any time I drop any video you'll be sure to be notified. So today we'll just be starting the first topic, which is the pituitary hormone. So talking about the pituitary hormone today, so make sure to subscribe if you are just joining us for the first time and turn on your post notification button so that if I drop any video you'll be notified too. You get? So just let us jump right into the video. So the first question is, what is pituitary gland? So we'll talk about the pituitary gland in a physiology manner. So first of all, we're talking about the pituitary gland and what is it before we enter into its physiology. So the first thing you need to know is otherwise called hypophyseal gland. So pituitary gland, or we can call it hypophyseal gland. Are you getting me now? Where is it located? It's located in the depression of the sphenoid, the body of the sphenoid, called the sella turcica. So in the body of the sphenoid bone, you see a depression. Are you getting me now? You call it the hypophyseal fossa. What's the hypophyseal fossa? Which means the pituitary fossa, where the pituitary gland is. You get it now? So that pituitary fossa is called, or hypophyseal fossa, that is where the pituitary gland is, and it's what we call a small endocrine gland. It's a small endocrine gland with a diameter about 1 centimeter and it weighs about 0.5 to about 1 gram. You get it now? It's very, very simple. 1, it's also called hypophyseal gland. 2, it is located in the sella turcica of the sphenoid bone. 3, it is a small endocrine gland with a diameter of 1 centimeter and a weight of about 0.5 to about 1 gram. Are you getting now? It is connected with the hypothalamus. Note it, I'm giving you all this important stuff. It is connected with the hypothalamus to a pituitary stalk or a hypophyseal stalk. Get it? Connected with the hypothalamus to a pituitary stalk or a hypophyseal stalk. So we have gone to this introduction. So this is just a general anatomy of it, but if you want to learn about it more, you go to our anatomy playlist to talk about the pituitary gland, anatomy of the pituitary gland. So the next thing is talking about its division. So what is the division of the pituitary gland? The division of the pituitary gland is divided into what? The anterior pituitary or adenohypophyseal. Anterior pituitary or adenohypophyseal. Then posterior pituitary or neurohypophyseal. Are you getting me now? So very, very important. Adenohypophyseal and neurohypophyseal. You get it now? So between these two divisions, there's a small avascular structures called pars intermedia. So between the adenohypophyseal or the anterior pituitary gland and the posterior pituitary or the neurohypophyseal, there's a median part there called the pars intermedius. It is avascular, which means there's no blood structure there. There's no blood vessels around that place. Now, based on its embryology too, based on its development, the anterior and posterior pituitary gland is different. They have different development. It's not that they have one development. They have different histology and different development because they are made up of two different. They are bilobed. The pituitary gland is supposed to originate from one place, but no, it is bilobed, which means it's originating from two different places. The anterior pituitary or the adenohypophyseal is ectodermal in origin, while the neurohypophyseal is neuroectodermal in origin. Are you getting now? So the adenohypophyseal, or you call it the anterior pituitary gland, which is ectodermal in origin, arises from what we call the pharyngeal epithelium. So it arises from the Ranke's pouch, in the pharyngeal epithelium. So during during embryogenesis, what happens in the pharynx, in the primitive pharynx, the wall of the primitive pharynx, there is an outpouch, an outgrowth in the wall of the pharynx called the Ranke's pouch. The Ranke's pouch is in the wall of the pharynx at the back of the nasopharynx that becomes the nasopharynx. During that nasopharynx, oropharynx, the distance between the naso and oropharynx, along that place, that is where the Ranke's pouch is located. But usually at the oropharynx side, where at the back of the mouth, and that wall, that is where the Ranke's pouch is located. But with time, up to like the 7th week, the Ranke's pouch dislodged from the primitive pharynx, that pharyngeal wall side, then it travels to the brain. I get it now, where it attaches to the posterior pituitary gland. That's how the embryology is. So we'll also be talking about it in our CNS and biology. So you watch that playlist too. Very, very important. So one thing you have to know, it is ectoderma in origin. It's gotten from the Ranke's pouch, which is an outpouch or an outgrowth of the pharyngeal epithelium. Are you getting me now? So that one is just that for that. The next one is the posterior pituitary gland or the neurohypophyseal. This one is gotten directly from the neurulation of the vasculation of the neural tube. During vasculation, what is vasculation? Doing differentiation of the component of the neural tube. Because if you want to understand about the neural tube, you go and watch our neurulation video in our early part of embryogenesis. So you see the early part of embryogenesis where we talk about gastrulation and neurulation. Now in the posterior pituitary gland, we say it is neuroectodermal. So if it's neuroectodermal, it arises from the hypothalamus as a downward or diverticulum. So naturally, the diencephalon forms the thalamus, hypothalamus, epithalamus, metathalamus. It forms all the thalamuses. So that's where the diencephalon forms. So when the diencephalons form, again, directly from the hypothalamus, there is an outgrowth, a diverticulum, which forms the posterior pituitary gland. I get him now. So with time, the Ranke's pouch goes upward and meets the outpouch of the and meets the diverticulum, which we call the infundibulum too. So it meets the infundibulum, which forms the posterior pituitary gland, and gets together to form a full pituitary gland. Are you getting now? So that's one thing you have to know. Anterior pituitary gland is formed from the pharynx. Posterior pituitary gland is formed directly from the hypothalamus. Both of them meet together and form one pituitary gland. The next one we'll be talking about is the relationship between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Remember I said that if the pituitary gland is connected with the hypothalamus through the hypophyseal or pituitary stalk. The hypophyseal or pituitary stalk is the connection between the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Are you getting me now? So this relationship, we call it Hypothalamo-Hypophyseal relationship. In the hypothalamo-hypophyseal relationship is how the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland communicate in secreting what? Hormones. Are you getting now? So naturally, the hypothalamus is connected to the anterior pituitary gland through blood vessels and through the posterior pituitary gland through what? Neurons. Are you getting now? One thing you have to know that we'll talk about the hypothalamus in our neurophysiology playlist, so you can also watch that too. So the neurons, the hypothalamus connecting with the posterior pituitary gland to neurons or what? Neural tract, and to the anterior pituitary gland to portal what? Vessels. Are you getting me now? So the connection are different. Why? Because they are derived from different places. Are you getting me now? Posterior pituitary gland derived neurally from the diencephalon. Anterior pituitary gland is not derived from CNS, it's derived from the pharynx on its own differently. That is why it has different channeling and different way of communicating with the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus has nuclei. Are you getting me? Various nuclei. We'll be talking about them. So if those nuclei are responsible for different functions, they have to send their impulses or signals through either through the blood vessels or through the tract. Are you getting me? Now, if they are sending to the tract, they send it to neurotransmitters. But if they are sending to the blood vessel, they secrete what we call releasing hormones. Are you getting me? So hypothalamic nuclei releasing hormone to the blood vessel for anterior pituitary gland and to tract as neurotransmitters for the posterior pituitary gland. Do you get it now? So they are released directly and they are stored in the posterior pituitary gland. So for the posterior pituitary gland, the hormones is already formed in the hypothalamus already through those nuclei. But in the anterior pituitary gland, they are not formed in the hypothalamus. They are formed in the anterior pituitary gland, but the signals of releasing hormone are released from the what? Hypothalamus. So that is the difference. So one thing, please just understand it. Again, for the anterior pituitary gland, there is a releasing signal that the hypothalamus releases from its nuclei. So when it releases it from its nuclei, it sends them through the blood. When it sends them through the blood or through the blood vessels, they go to the cells in the anterior pituitary gland to secrete the main hormone. But in the posterior pituitary gland, the hormones are already formed by the nuclei of the hypothalamus, but they are sent as neurotransmitters to be stored in the posterior pituitary gland. Simple. So hope you understand it now. The communication between the hypothalamus and the anterior pituitary gland is through a hypothalamo-hypophyseal blood vessels, which means it takes the hypothalamic vessels for information or signals from the hypothalamus to reach the anterior pituitary cells, which we call hypothalamo-hypophyseal blood vessel or portal vessel. But for the posterior pituitary gland, it takes hypothalamo-hypophyseal tract. So just finishing the overview of the pituitary gland, we'll be moving to the next video where we're talking about the anterior pituitary glands and its hormones. Are you getting me now? So the hormone that is formed by the anterior pituitary gland. So I'm trying to make the video short so that you can understand everything. Follow me one after the other. One after the other. So hope it's making sense to you. So I'll see you in the next part of the video, which is anterior pituitary gland. Bye bye.